Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to General Hospital teasers for the week of May 5th to 9th, Christina Corinthos Davis makes a peace offering, and Jason Morgan will punish Danny Morgan. Let's talk about what's happening in Port Charles since Willow Corinthos will also have to take Portia Robinson's quiz. Jocelyn Jacks, who ruined Emma Scorpio Drake's extra credit assignment, will first battle feelings of remorse. Emma will undoubtedly regret it if Jocelyn is able to return the thumb drive containing the tainted data to her. Vaughn will be there, though, to remind Jocelyn that sometimes doing dirty work is necessary for the greater good. Additionally, Vaughn might foresee that Emma would lose her job as a research assistant, which could allow Jocelyn to win it instead. Jack Brennan may reveal more about Professor Henry Hank Dalton and the significance of Joss landing this research assistant position when he meets with Jocelyn and Vaughn later to deliver some news. There will be drama following the bonfire as well, since Dante Falconeri will be upset with Rocco Falconeri's inebriated mess and everyone involved. Giovanni Gio Palmieri appears to be going to get into some trouble. May he get jailed and have his PCU music scholarship in jeopardy? In order to make things better for her grandson, Lois Cerullo will make a fervent plea to Dante. According to GH Spoilers, Danny will have to take his punishment and deal with some criticism from Jason. In the interim, Christina will confide in Lucky Spencer, who might suggest that she give Alexis Davis a break over the documents in order to get Christina committed. Alexis might be the recipient of the peace offering that Christina will bring later. When it comes to Willow, Nina Reeves will be devastated because she thinks Drew is a victim. The whole Jacinda conspiracy was intended to turn Willow against Drew, but she will support him because of the ketamine discovery. Portia Robinson may have trouble with that ketamine because she had Brad Cooper steal it for her. It appears Brad will learn about Drew's predicament and believe Portia helped set him up. Brad ought to make some threats and use this as an opportunity to get out of the commands Portia is making him follow. Brad will eventually make a choice that will alter his life. Will he conclude that he should give up on his resistance and go work for Selena Wu? Portia will be busy questioning Willow and attempting to determine how much her boyfriend knows while Drew obtains some important information. Tracy Quartermaine will eventually show surprise and refute any charges he makes against her, even if Drew may grow more and more sure that she set him up for adultery. When she returns to Willow, she will encounter Sasha Gilmore Corbin and engage in a contentious altercation with her. Brooke Lynn and Harrison Chase may seek assistance from Alexis regarding their adoption plans, as they have a meeting with her across town. Last but not least, Jen Sidwell will make someone an alluring proposition, but since Sidwell is involved, trouble is certain. According to General Hospital teasers, the week of May 5th to 9th will be quite exciting. Stay tuned for updates on all the surprises that lie ahead. To find out if Laura had seen the news reports regarding Drew, Curtis dropped by her office. Curtis grinned and continued, "The whole thing is trending across social media." Laura found the entire situation astounding. "I'm still trying to wrap my head around how Drew could have made such a huge error in judgment," she continued. "Thanks to Lulu, Drew has become radioactive, politically speaking," stated Curtis. Laura felt ecstatic at the idea. She chuckled and said, "Even Ezra Boyle is keeping a distance." Since Drew had not achieved anything as a congressman, Laura was angry with him. Rather, he had compiled a list of enemies and cultivated relationships with those who could assist him in exacting his retribution. She questioned, "Whose life has he made better?" Curtis believed that voters would be awakened by this scandal. As many people across the world ponder, it's shown his constituents that he's self-serving, that he's disloyal, and that he's hypocritical. How can you trust a man with that kind of judgment? Curtis posed the question. To interview Alexis for her adoption story, Lulu went to her office. Due to Drew's activities at the Savoy, Alexis informed Lulu that they would need to reschedule the interview because she now had to look for Scout. Alexis didn't blame Lulu, despite her apology for taking the viral video. The reason Drew would be so careless baffled both women. Alexis noted that she had never saw Drew intoxicated. The entire situation struck Alexis as being completely inconsistent with Drew's personality. Laura's office was Lulu's next destination. Laura commended her daughter for using video to expose Drew. Lulu believed Laura should be her next topic because she still wanted to concentrate on her adoption tale. After all, the Vinings reared Laura until her teenage reunion with Leslie. Since she wasn't legally adopted, Laura felt awkward discussing it. Leslie thought her kid had died because she was switched at birth. I had two families, so it's very complicated, but it's kinda become part of who I am, Laura said. But at last Laura consented to speak. Laura clarified that when she initially met Leslie, she had no idea who she truly was. She simply sensed a connection between them. Eventually, Leslie told me that she was my mother. And I remember that moment because in that moment I felt a sense of relief. It all made sense. This ease that I felt with this woman and this connection that I had with this total stranger, Laura continued. Laura told Lulu the rest of her story, including how she joined a commune and fled her home at the age of 14. Laura claimed to have loved both of her moms and to have no regrets. Laura was also aware that Lulu was interested in more than simply her narrative. When Willow got home, she left a voicemail for Drew, explaining that she had entered through the garage because reporters were encamped outside. She was enraged to see a high-heeled shoe on the ground since it was definitely not hers. Drew was splayed over the bed by himself when Willow came upstairs and into the bedroom. Before long, Jacinda showed up sporting Drew's shirt. Jacinda questioned, "Didn't your mother teach you to knock?" "This is my bedroom," Willow informed the sex worker. "I'm sorry, honey. Drew said you were away. Otherwise, I would have never stayed over," Jacinda responded. "Don't be so hard on him, honey. Men need to let off some steam every now and then," she said as she was leaving. To wake Drew, a vengeful Willow smashed the door. He was shocked to see Willow, but even more shocked by the expression on her face. He inquired, "What happened?" Willow said, "Your date just left," and then she cried and fled the room. After dressing and pacing his living room, a bewildered Drew opened the door for reporters and Alexis. When Drew's ex-mother-in-law entered, she saw Drew standing in front of her, looking like a hot mess. He said, "Alexis, what is going on?" "I'll tell you what is going on. I am packing a bag for Scout and she's staying with me," Alexis said. "I refuse to allow my granddaughter to have to deal with the reporters," she said. Alexis provided Drew with video footage to answer his question about why reporters were present at all. Incredulous, Drew said he didn't recognize the woman in the video. In his own words, "I don't remember any of this." Drew said this was his first blackout, but Alexis knew what they were. "You've made a big old mess," Alexis remarked, persuading Drew to let her take Scout until, if at all, this situation was resolved. Drew discovered his phone and a bra beneath the couch when Alexis went to pack Scout's luggage. Nina was obviously feeling guilty as Portia continued to rave about how delightful it was to see Drew look foolish. Portia gleefully remarked, "I knew that something was going to happen, but it still blew me away." Nina was less joyful. "I was happier staying on the sidelines," she stated. All Nina could think about was Willow's emotions. Nina added, "She is going to be devastated by what she finds," with obvious distress. Nina said she still had the right to feel sorry for her daughter, even after Portia reminded her that this was also part of the plan. Nina was informed by Portia that a little pain now will save her a ton of misery down the road. As planned, Jacinda quickly showed up to update the women on the situation. Drew was unconscious when she brought him home. Although she slept on the couch downstairs, she staged the scenario to give the impression that she had sex with Drew. "Thanks to your itinerary, I made sure I was awake when Willow arrived," remarked Jacinda. Jacinda was given her money by Nina, who also instructed her to leave Port Charles immediately. Knowing it would be Willow, Nina braced herself as someone knocked on the door. Indeed, as soon as Nina opened the door, a frantic Willow collapsed into her mother's arms. As Willow talked about her awful homecoming, she was crying. When she learned that Drew was widely visible on social media, and that everyone was aware of his activities, she was astounded. Willow was startled when Nina pulled up her phone and played the body shot video. To Willow's horror, "Oh my God, that's the woman I found in my bedroom." Willow was determined to keep the children in the dark about what had transpired. She was concerned that 8-year-olds shouldn't have access to information that Wiley and Scout might discover on their phones. Willow thought there must be a reason to. Willow claimed that nothing about this fits with the man I know and love. Nina attempted talking sense into Willow's head. "It does seem that Drew has lost control. Has Drew been drinking more than usual lately?" Nina inquired. Drew might be a secret alcoholic, Willow thought. Willow's eyes grew wide as she questioned, "What if you're right and I've been blind to him this whole time?" At that moment, Drew started pounding on the door. Jack was sitting in Sonny's room when he woke up in California. Jack's assistance to Brick was appreciated by Sonny. Jack stated that he was only keeping an eye on Sonny until Jason arrived, and now he had, adding, "I just did a little cleaning up. Can't have your associate harassed by local police." Carly greeted Jason in the waiting area and explained the situation involving Brick and the dubious nurse who was armed. If Brick had shown up 5 seconds later, Sonny would be dead, she stated. Jason thanked Jack for his assistance and for watching over Sonny as he exited his room. Carly went to see Sonny after Jack informed her that he was awake. Telling Carly that there was nothing she could accomplish there, Sonny attempted to send her home. Jason was there now, Sonny insisted, and nothing would happen while he was in charge. Sonny referred to Donna when he remarked, "Carly, I don't need you right now, but there's somebody who does." At last, Sonny persuaded Carly to go. Jack informed Jason that the assassin was well known in the intelligence world and did not often target mobsters while Carly was visiting with Sonny. Zalitsky, the man who set the firebomb in Sonny's penthouse, shared her background, Jason pointed out. Jason was taken aback by Sonny's remarks when he shortly paid him a visit. "Someone gave me an important message that has me looking at the big picture. Something we have been talking about for a while. We gotta get out of this business," stated Sonny. Jason, bewildered, inquired as to who had sent the message to Sonny. When Sonny revealed it was Mike, he became even more confused. "I know you're looking at me like I've lost it because I'm talking to my dead father," stated Sonny. Jason determined that before they left the company, they needed to know who was pursuing Sonny. Kai was prepared for his procedure when he got to the hospital. Trina was already present to provide consolation. Kai wondered where Drew was, but he also alerted Trina that a documentary filmmaker was pursuing him. "Yeah, Drew might not be feeling the greatest this morning," Trina replied. Felicia came over to review some documents with Kai. Kai was put up in his room by her. Trina asked Kai if he wanted to proceed with the documentary without Drew as soon as she entered. Kai wasn't certain, but he had signed the release and thought the surgery should be documented. When Portia got to her office, the filmmaker interviewed her and pointed out that this operation had left some patients incapacitated. He questioned, "Is that risk worth it?" Despite acknowledging that the surgery was dangerous, Portia made an effort to be tactful and upbeat. She said, "I think Kai Taylor has a bright future ahead of him." A guy of action, Jason Morgan has always supported prompt and decisive justice. Jason's protective nature came into play when he discovered that Danny had been a part of a careless occurrence that might have put others in risk. Despite his youth, Danny had to learn that decisions had repercussions. Jason prefers to use discipline to illustrate his point rather than giving endless lectures. He sat Danny down and explained his punishment. No video games, no after-school socializing with pals, and additional household tasks. Danny had anticipated rage, but Jason's composed yet stern manner was worse in some ways. There was only hard, cold facts, no shouting. Danny was wise enough not to argue. Jason's statement was final. Christina Corinthos Davis, meantime, was committed to repairing the damage. She was fed up with the persistent undercurrent of animosity that had been there between her and some family members for far too long. She made handmade cookies and wrote a loving note as a peace offering. Though it was a little gesture, Christina hoped it would lead to a meaningful discussion. Although she was aware that restoring trust would take time, she was prepared to make the effort. Her stomach churned with anxious anticipation as she dropped the meticulously wrapped surprise off at the doorstep of the person with whom she had been at odds. Would this be rejected outright, or would it be the first step toward reconciliation? Time would tell. Willow Tate was literally and figuratively under a microscope at the hospital. Always the conscientious physician, Portia Robinson had a way of making every conversation a teaching opportunity. It was the same today. Willow had just completed helping with a treatment when Portia started a quick quiz. Willow's mind raced as she answered each question, trying not to hesitate. What were the patient's vitals during the critical phase? What medication did we administer, and at what dosage? According to General Hospital spoilers, Christina Corinthos Davis has been balancing a lot of emotional pain ever since the event that almost killed Elizabeth Baldwin and Rick Lansing. The pressure to come clean about cutting Rick's brake lines has never been higher, and her remorse has been growing. However, Christina is now reconsidering everything after having a heart-to-heart with her brother Dante Falconeri, who encouraged her to remain strong for Sonny Corinthos amid his medical crisis. One poor decision now, like as confessing to a crime that could tear the family apart, could send Sonny over the over, and her father's life could be on the line. Is Christina merely buying time until Sonny is stable enough to handle the ramifications, or will she keep her secret hidden? Spoilers for General Hospital. The weight of the world and guilt. This time is no exception to Christina's tendency to show her feelings. She struggles to balance the moral comfort of confession with the very real repercussions it would have on everyone she loves, not just herself. Confessioning to a murder that almost killed Molly's father would probably ruin what little sisterly bond she still has with Molly Lansing Davis, whose relationship is already precarious. Even yet, Christina is troubled by her actions, particularly since Elizabeth was collateral damage and Rick wasn't the only one who nearly perished. That reality is unavoidable for someone like Christina, who has been working to establish herself as a stable member of her turbulent family and a nice daughter and sister. Read more. Discover the events in the most recent GH episode. Gush Dante issued a wake-up call in GH spoilers. Despite not knowing the whole tale, Dante is not an idiot. In a recent conversation, he made it clear that Sonny needs his family more than ever after noticing Christina's unpredictable behavior. He is still in danger, and the strain of any family strife could be fatal. That was really evident to Christina. She may face punishment if she confessed now, and her already precarious condition might suffer a devastating blow. As Dante's comments continue to reverberate in her head, Christina is starting to think that perhaps the most selfless thing she can do right now is to remain silent. Spoilers for General Hospital. The ticking clock. How long, though, can Christina keep her secret? If there are no difficulties during or after the surgery, Sonny's health might not stabilize for weeks or months. She runs the risk of someone else learning the truth every day that goes by. While in her office, Portia called Nina and asked if they were truly prepared to drug Drew. "We sure are. I have the ketamine and our trap is set. We just have to decide when and where to lure Drew into it," Nina replied. At that moment, Drew barged into Portia's office, demanding to speak with her. In order to deal with Drew, Portia hung up. "Do I need to remind you that I hold your career and your relationship in my hands? And right now they're both hanging by a thread," Drew said. According to Portia, once Curtis had made up his mind, it was difficult to persuade him to modify it. "Especially when it comes to you. And I have tried repeatedly," said Portia. Drew had another desire, so he insisted Portia keep trying. He requested that Curtis have Aurora perform several hit songs for Sonny. "The referendum on the Esplanade is really just a referendum on Sonny," Drew clarified. Drew was reminded by Portia that Curtis would never oppose Laura. Jason interrupted Tracy, Emma, and Gio as they were talking in the Q solarium. Tracy smiled and added, "Oh, Jason, I was just telling Gio about some of the suffering that Sonny has wrought on this family over the decades." Tracy was backing the effort to steal Sonny's peers, Gio clarified. Emma defended Sonny's position. "Please don't do this. You said yourself that you owed me for helping save your family's crypt from being bulldozed by Drew Kane," she said. Tracy suddenly had an idea involving Drew. She interrupted his fight with Portia by calling him. "I assure you it will be of the utmost importance to you," Tracy replied. Drew listened intently. Emma was appalled that Tracy would collaborate with a man who almost had her parents' graves demolished after Tracy ended her call with Drew. Tracy informed Gio that Sonny was much more than the man Gio had initially perceived, despite Joe's repeated attempts to defend him. Tracy remarked, "Jason, I know you're going to embark on some heroic stories about Sonny, but don't forget to tell him about what he did to your brother," alluding to the moment Sonny killed an unarmed AJ. Gio asked Jason what Sonny had done to AJ after Emma had left. "It's probably better if you forget what you heard," Jason suggested. Gio replied he couldn't, but he would find someone who would if Jason didn't tell him. Jason stated, "You want to know what happened to my brother? Sonny killed him," in his icy tone. Gio didn't think Jason was real. Gio emphasized, "Uncle Sonny would never do that." Gio questioned how Jason knew the truth, to which Jason replied that Sunny had shot AJ to save Ava. "'Cause I choose to believe Sunny," Jason stated. Jason described his life's path. "The Quartermaines warned me about Sunny years ago, and it got bad. It got so bad that I had to completely cut ties with my family," he stated. "But now, I've got Danny and some life experience and I see things differently now. I didn't get where they were coming from then, but I do now. You're not a kid anymore, so you have to decide. Are you going to trust your relationship with Sunny? Or are you going to listen to everybody else?" Jason responded. It was at the Port Charles Grill that Drew and Tracy first met. When Drew found out that Tracy wanted to join him in his battle to remove Sunny's peers, he was eager to hear it. Tracy wished to set aside their disagreements and cooperate. The Quartermaine name was Drew's reward for his hard work. Drew's stipulations were accepted by Tracy, but only if the referendum was successful. Jacinda was invited to Nina's charming pastel flat. She gave the ketamine vial to Jacinda. "Here is what you will use to drug Drew Kane," Nina said. The ketamine was pharmacy grade, she assured Jacinda. "I want Drew to have a night he never remembers and a night that everyone in Port Charles will never forget," Nina said. After receiving a call from Portia informing Nina that Drew was on his way to the Port Charles Grill, Nina dispatched Jacinda to complete the task. Nina then went to visit Portia to reassure her that everything was proceeding as planned. Drew's Dawn of Day house was deserted, as Wiley, Amelia, and Scout were sleeping at her place. "This is going to break my daughter's heart, but I have to believe that in the end it's all going to be worth it," Nina murmured. Drew went back to the Port Charles Grill and asked the server for a drink. Before Drew received his drink, Jacinda spiked it with ketamine when the bartender set it on the bar. As Nina and Portia prepared for the consequences, she texted Nina to let her know it was finished. After Tracy departed, Jacinda went up to Drew, who told her that his drink seemed a bit too powerful. Drew continued to talk about how much he looked forward to tearing Sunny apart piece by piece. But he claimed to feel terrific. He said, "I'm getting better all the time." And then he asked Jacinda what her name was. They went to the Savoy after Jacinda quickly asked Drew if they could go somewhere more enjoyable. But first Drew drained the remainder of his drink. Curtis assured Jordan at the Savoy that he would stop questioning her about her new position. Jordan remarked, "Good, because it's not like we're still married and I owe you any answers." Jordan was reminded by Curtis that the truth always finds a way to surface. Curtis cautioned his ex-wife that taking down Sidwell was a risky endeavor, and that it would not be simple. "You're looking at it the wrong way, Curtis. It's not whether I can handle Sidwell. It's whether Sidwell can handle me," she responded. Jordan and Curtis informed Portia that Jordan would be working with Drew as part of her new position at Sidwell, and she tried not to react when they came. Anna was flirted with by Professor Dalton at the pub. He wanted to know every detail of her position as police commissioner, but Anna didn't want to discuss her job. From the opposite end of the bar, Jocelyn sat drinking and observed them. Anna made the decision to end the evening when she noticed Jordan engaged in a conversation with Curtis. Before she left, Anna refused to give Dalton her phone number. Before she departed, she remarked, "I'm sure we will run into each other again somewhere." Jocelyn went over to Dalton after Anna left and reminded him that she was in his class. He remarked, "Oh yeah, the latecomer." Jocelyn put on a strong front, complimenting Dalton on his class. She indicated that she was interested in the role of research assistant. Dalton said, "I just don't think it's gonna happen," which shocked Jocelyn. He informed her that the person who had been working on the project all semester was the one he wanted to hire. Jocelyn committed to putting in more effort to increase her prospects. Drew was behaving like a man who had just had a ketamine high when he and Jacinda entered. Before he put his arms around Jacinda, he almost toppled. Seeing his old pal did not make Curtis pleased. "Drew seems to forget that I banned him from this place," he stated. Astonished that her strategy was succeeding, Portia halted Curtis before he could approach Drew. The congressman ordered a round of shots for everyone, and as Drew continued to make a commotion, daring reporter Lulu started taking pictures. "Drunk Drew is making a fool of himself right now, Curtis. This is going better than we'd hoped." Portia called Nina to let her know that Jordan had attempted to persuade Drew to accompany her, but he was prepared for body shots using Jacinda's body. Lulu snapped away as Portia grinned and said, "Much better." Lucas informed Marco at Café Sherry that his father had just entered. Sidwell, carrying Lucy on his arm, strolled over to their table and introduced Lucy to Marco Rios. Sidwell proudly declared that Marco was his son after recognizing his name from some real estate documents. As Lucy and Sidwell sat at their table, Lucas felt compelled to discuss their fathers, revealing that his biological father was Julian Jerome, and his adoptive father was Tony Jones. Lucas acknowledged that Tony accepted him right away after he came out, but Bobby struggled before she finally warmed up to him. "My dad accepted me with no problem and my mom couldn't," Marco said matter-of-factly, adding that she still can't. Marco then related his personal story. He added, "And the only drawback of living in Port Charles is that she lives here too." Marco clarified that her mother had also made some homophobic comments about his sister that went viral, and Lucas said, "Your mother is Natalia Ramirez?" "The expression on her face when I told her," Marco said, describing his family dynamic. Marco recalled coming out to Natalia saying, "I'll never forget it." Lucy was amazed that Natalia never brought up having a son across the dining room. "Did we actually know her?" Lucy pondered. Anna told her granddaughter that she had recently met Professor Dalton at the Savoy when they met up for coffee. Anna thought it was fascinating since, "You both switched to the same school at the exact same time." Emma said, "Okay, fine." When Anna inquired if she had anything to tell her, Emma facetiously confessed, "I purposefully made sure that I was in Dalton's class." Anna continued to maintain her belief that coincidences are not real. As tensions rise, Christina Corinthos Davis and Dante Falconeri are at a crossroads. Will she come clean? Or will the pressure of Dante's relentless pursuit push her to desperate measures? The drama in Port Charles never stops, and the latest twists involving Christina Corinthos Davis and Dante Falconeri are proof that secrets never stay buried for long. Christina has been holding back a bombshell revelation that could send shockwaves through her family and relationships, but Dante, ever the astute investigator, is encroaching on the truth, leaving Christina scrambling to keep her secret safe. Dante, with his sharp intuition and unwavering commitment to justice, isn't one to let things go, and his growing suspicions put him on a collision course with Christina, forcing her to face the fact that her deceit may soon be exposed. Christina has always been a complex character, torn between loyalty to her family and her own desires, and her most recent secret is no exception. It could redefine her relationships, especially with those closest to her. The tension between Dante and Christina is evident. As a detective, Dante has an obligation to find the truth, but this is not a straightforward situation. Christina is not just anyone, and her father, Sonny Corinthos, is a man Dante respects. If Dante probes too deeply, he runs the risk of not only incurring Christina's wrath but also possible repercussions within the Corinthos clan. Nevertheless, Dante has never been one to back down from doing what he feels is right. His moral compass is strong, and if Christina's secret involves something unlawful or dangerous, he may feel obligated to act regardless of the personal repercussions. Although she has always been resourceful, Christina feels as though the walls are closing in on her. Dante's investigation is unlike any challenge she has ever faced, so she may turn to allies for support, such as her mother, Alexis, or her siblings Michael and Molly. But will they encourage her to come clean or support her in keeping this secret? Alexis, in particular, has a complicated history with truth and deception. As a lawyer, she understands the weight of secrets, but as a mother, she may prioritize protecting Christina, even if it means breaking the law. Then who else knows? Has Christina told anyone she didn't want to tell? Could her secret involve another prominent figure in Port Charles, such as her boyfriend Blaze or even someone from Sonny's rival factions? The stakes are even higher if her secret is connected to the mob world. The Corinthos family is no stranger to danger, and if Christina's actions unintentionally put her in the path of Sonny's enemies, Dante's intervention might be the only thing keeping her safe. Christina might try to deceive Dante, make up evidence, or even manipulate people to divert him from the investigation as the pressure increases. But Dante is an experienced detective who has dealt with liars and criminals far more craftily than Christina, so if she underestimates him, she could worsen the situation and put herself in a hole from which she will never be able to emerge.